All right. Happy Friday, niños. Sorry I can't be with you today. That doesn't mean you can't still learn. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about reflexives and reciprocals, which is not necessarily new information, but I decided that I should personally teach it to you instead of just giving you a handout, because there is a little bit of new information with some meaning changers that you probably have not seen before. So let's get started. At any point, please stop this video and jot down whatever notes you think you need to take. I'm not going to take very long pauses. I will leave that up to you, how long you want to pause the video before starting again. So we're going to start with reflexives. Okay, so just a reminder, a reflexive verb is one where the subject receives the action of the verb. You remember these: I am showering. I am the one receiving that action. I am brushing my teeth. I'm brushing my own teeth. I'm not brushing someone else's teeth. A lot of reflexive verbs describe daily routine actions. For example, levantarse, ducharse, acostarse, etc. You had a whole huge list of them in Spanish too. There are some other reflexive verbs that don't necessarily mean that you're doing that action to yourself, but they describe a physical or emotional state. Words like divertirse, to have fun, sentirse, to feel, and emocionarse, to be excited or emotional. This is semi-new information. I think you've seen this, but we haven't really delineated what it means. So some reflexive verbs describe a change of state and mean to get or to become, and that's why we use the se. It doesn't necessarily mean it's something you're doing to yourself. Enojarse is to get mad. It just always has to have the se on the end or out in front when you conjugate it. Aburrirse is to get bored. Ponerse nervioso is to become nervous. And cansarse means to get tired. Some verbs actually have a new meaning when you use them reflexively. So there are some verbs that you can take from a normal state, meaning one thing, and if you add se to the end, they mean something different in their reflexive form. So I have quite a few of these, so you might have to pause me. The first one, you've probably seen this one. Ir means to go. Irse means to leave. So if I said voy, it means I go. If I say me voy, it means I'm leaving. Similar meanings, but slightly different nuances. The next one is parecer, which means to seem. Parecerse is to look like. That one is very different. Quitar is to take away, and quitarse is to take off. Perder is to lose. Perderse to get lost. You already knew that one. Dormir is to sleep. Dormirse is to fall asleep. It's not to sleep yourself. That doesn't make any sense, to fall asleep. Quedar is to be located, and quedarse is to stay. I think you've seen both of those words, but you may not have put them together like that. Volver is to return, and volverse is to become, and I think you had that on a vocab list somewhere, like volverse loco, to become crazy. It's on this current vocab list. Then there are some verbs that are always reflexive. It's just the nature of the word, like darse cuenta de, which was to realize, quejarse, to complain, and portarse bien, to behave well. Okay, here's a little activity for you to do. I would like you to pause this. I would like you to complete the blanks from the word bank below, trying to conjugate them. So you will need to pause this, and when you're ready, hit play, and I will show you the answers. All right, so los sábados todos nos levantamos or se levantan temprano. Mi hermano y mi papá se van con sus amigos a jugar al fútbol. Por la tarde, si hace buen tiempo, nadie quiere quedarse en casa. Todos vamos al parque a correr. A veces, después de correr, yo me canso un poco, pero nunca me quejo. All right. Let's move on. We are now going to shift to talking about reciprocals. Reciprocal verbs are a little more simple. I don't have as much new information for you, but just a little review of what reciprocals are. Reciprocal verbs tell what people do to or for one another, and we only use the pronouns nos or se, or I suppose you could do os. We just don't see that as much for the vosotros form. For example, los novios se abrazaban y se besaban. The bride and groom hugged and kissed each other. So basically, the reciprocal tense is just adding each other to your verb. Another example, por lo general nos saludamos con un abrazo. In general, we greet each other with a hug. One thing to note is just to remember that our pronoun, if we have an infinitive in the sentence, can either go before our conjugated verb or attached to the infinitive. For example, the first set of sentences here mean exactly the same thing. We've just put the pronoun in a different spot. So, vamos a vernos mañana and nos vamos a ver mañana both mean we'll see each other tomorrow, or we're going to see each other tomorrow. The second set, again, same thing. Rodrigo y Luisa están besándose, or Rodrigo y Luisa se están besando. This does not have an infinitive, but it has a progressive form which behaves the same way. So they both mean that Rodrigo and Luisa are kissing. Hopefully not in my Spanish class. These are some examples of verbs that can be used in a reciprocal way. Some of them are pretty exclusively reciprocal verbs. Casarse, to get married. You kind of need someone else to be involved in that. Besarse, abrazarse, those are things, again, you can't really do them alone. But some of them are verbs that you've seen in other forms and can be used alone, like escribir. That's to write. Escribirse is to write each other, like write each other letters. Or hablarse, you know hablar is to talk. Hablarse is either to talk to each other. It could also really mean to talk to yourself, but probably not used as frequently in that way. So those are my notes for today, and you may move on with the next thing on your list.